Write yourself $1 million check. Heck, that's what Drew Carey did. He went up to the top of the hill in Los Angeles, and he wrote himself a $10 million check. And he said, that's what I get for my movie. 5 years later, he had his first movie, and he made $10 million. Have you written yourself a check lately?
All right. Okay.
Where do you want that?
Just where you have it. Okay. Just can you put your foot up? You want to put your foot on it? There you go. Yeah. We just don't want that in front of your face.
Okay.
That's all.
In front of my face.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep, it's got to stay up. All right.
Shows you can still do what you're passionate about and what you love, no matter what.
No matter what. Mm-hmm. All right, so we have some fabulous questions. I've grouped some of them together that seem to kind of have the same flavor to them, and we'll just see how far we get. Okay.
Let's see how far we get.
So the first question is, what are sure signs that you are limiting your abundance prosperity? So do we treat for prosperity, financial abundance, or for specific things? How do we know that we are limiting our abundance or prosperity?
Well, the ways that I know that I can limit my abundance and prosperity is I witness my own thoughts. And when the thoughts are restricted or limiting, like there's certain words, can't, I can't, or enough, not enough, not possible. I believe that there's a voice that is placed inside of us. It's a trickster voice. And if I listen to that voice and move from that place, and that voice is a limiting voice in any shape, form, or fashion, that is one of the ways that I know I'm absolutely limiting my abundance and prosperity. Perhaps even a more powerful way of doing that is then what words and thoughts move through my mouth. What do I speak? Because when I speak those limiting words, they have more fuel and fire to them. What we tend to think is that, well, first of all, I think I am limited in any shape, form, or fashion. I've just done it. So I immediately go to the ground of all being, that which is God, Spirit, life itself, that what I know to be true about it. And I go right there first and foremost and says, well, is that true for Spirit? Is that true for life itself? Is there any possibility that this thing that I am intimate knowing about or believe is working in all of the cosmos and all the universe? Is that true for it? And resoundingly for me, the answer is no, it's not true. So then I go, well, then that's not true for me, because I am it. And that is where I think we get hooked in the myths and the lies the most. That there's some limitation to me when there's not. And we tend to hold money as something really weird. It's held differently than anything else in our lives, primarily. And it's not. It's the same the currency of life itself. So that's, I could talk about this for a long time. But
well, you have to find a pause so we can ask another question, because you just got to say, okay, that was a good answer for that amount, so it's good.
So I'll pause.
There you go. Just pause for a moment. We'll carry on with the next question. You'll have lots of opportunities to talk. So in alignment with what you just said, right? Mindset, which is a little bit of what you're talking about. I keep hearing that I must have a mindset to be prosperous. What mindset is that? And how does it correspond with prosperity?
So let me give an example. I live an abundant life. We all have our growing edges. Every single one of us has a topic that's a growing edge for us in our life. And I'm really grateful that mine is not around abundance and prosperity and money. I have my own other growing edges. So my first vocation, my primary vocation before this one, was sales and marketing. And I was a sales and marketing executive for 23 years. And within that career, I always had a salary and commission. So I learned through this that there is no limitation, there is no ceiling, there is no place where there's a maximum. What do I want to go for? What do I want the people that worked for me to go for, et cetera, et cetera. And I used that there was no limitation in that. There was a time during the recession when I came into Science of Mind in 2007, and the recession started in 2008. Remember that? 8, 9, and 10. And I used the Science of Mind principles to ensure that not only me, but everyone who worked for me didn't have any impact of that. I made more money than I've ever made in my life. When I became a minister and I was asked to come here, and Petra and the core council asked me to come, and I accepted the letter of call, and that salary was about what I made back in 1986. I had to watch my thoughts, because it started. For the first time in my life, I went, oh, I'm limited on my inflow, because I'm only getting a salary. I'm not on commission. If y'all want to work that, we can talk about that.
No, we can't.
But, you know?
We're a 501c3.
I'm just saying. And I had to immediately, I felt it creep in. It's our conscious thoughts, and do we start to believe them? And when we believe them and there's emotion behind it, it goes into our subconscious, and that is the motherboard that runs this, meaning you. It is the motherboard. And I watched it. I could see it when I got here. Well, that means, oh my God, I'm only making, what could be considered a very small amount compared to what I was used to. And I said, no, I cannot limit this because I don't need to know. I am living a prosperous life, bar none. This is not changing. And I can tell you that I feel more prosperous than when I was in sales and marketing. I don't know how. It's like what Cheryl said. It just is. I've been a tither for over 25 years, and I do believe now I am so significantly prosperous because the unit, the married unit, so believes in tithing that there's no discussion. We just give as much as we can, way beyond tithing to this place, but to other places too. And we always, always, always have more than enough to do what we want to do in life. It's crazy. I can't figure it out, and I don't need to know how. But it started with me squishing. So whatever is coming into your consciousness about money or any kind of prosperity, prosperity in love, prosperity in relationships and work environments and people you work with, whatever it is, it's not just about money, but whatever it is, when you feel that moment, that it's limiting that. And I felt it coming here. I said, no, this isn't true. Again, going back to it's not true about spirit. Spirit knows how to have more than enough. Just when you think the plant's going to die because it didn't have rain. Rain comes. The plant doesn't sit there and go, I'm so scared, I'm so nervous, I have no idea, when's the rain going to come? It just is. And just in time sometimes it floods, but there's always more than enough. This is how life works. We limit that thought when we look at a bank account or whatever it is. And so that's the thought process. That's the consciousness. And when one does this enough, it's not a quick fix. I took every class I could in this. If you're not in classes, there's no quick fix to this. Sunday morning won't get you done. I don't think. Though, try it. But it's over and over and over. And then when that happens about this thing called money, prosperity, abundance, one, you become a living example of that for other people in your life. And two, now you can place your attention on something else. I no longer I've moved through that potentiality of me not having a prosperous life anymore because I chose a different vocation that I love. And I am more prosperous now than I've ever been in my life. Go figure. Okay, I'm to pause.
Good.
I hope this is helpful.
So in creating this mindset, right, and saying no to the limitation, are there physical items that you use, if any, when doing manifestation and spiritual mind treatment, like vision boards or the use of cash put up somewhere? And if so, where do you place these material items?
I love that. You know, I think we can choose to use it all, and unless we try some of this stuff, we don't know. I used a vision board for many years. It was something that I got to do when I went into the Science Mind community in Oakland. Just like the Unexpected Income Club has vision board workshops here. They're quite popular. I know why. And I would make vision boards, and I would place it where I would see it. I have little smaller things now, like on our refrigerator, but there was all this stuff on the vision board, and I would look at that. And it's a way of not only visually, but it's that type of thing that you're just reminded. You're reminded what you want, what you're going for, and you're just seeing that all the time, and you're getting an entire sense, and it's all about within me, anything that will help you know that within you, this is so real, it is so real. I am tasting the ice cream right here and right now, and then Reverend Patty brings me mint chocolate chip. It's to know within so much that this is so real. And so anything outside that can help us know within that this is so real, because so within, so without. So vision boards, and you place it wherever you're going to see it. Little sayings, things, wherever you want. Yes, I think money, we don't have the intimate relationship with it as much as we do anymore. So keep cash. Just so you can touch it, you can feel it. How do you look at it? How do you honor it? Or I put all the faces the same way, pointing out, in my wallet, from large to small, whatever works for you. Write yourself $1 million check. Heck, that's what Drew Carey did. He went up to the top of the hill in Los Angeles, and he wrote himself a $10 million check. And he said, that's what I get for my movie. 5 years later, he had his first movie, and he made $10 million. Have you written yourself a check lately? Place it where you can see it. So any items, it's up to you. It's a personal thing, but you got to experiment and know. And if you feel something inside, you feel it's resonating, it's increasing something within you by doing this, you're on the right path. If it's flat or not at all, don't do a vision board. But if you won't know unless you try some of these things. So affirmations. This is a very key tool. I want you to feel inside yourself. When you say inside yourself, or actually you can say it out loud, either one, I don't care. I am wealthy. Just try that on. I am wealthy.
I am wealthy.
I am wealthy. And feel inside yourself if there's something, anything, one little cell in your body that goes, no, you're not. Really, I want you to feel it. So a mantra or affirmation, I am wealthy. Yes, I am, two most important words, what you put after it. I am wealthy. But if after you pick that affirmation and any one cell in your body or one little thing goes, no, I'm not. Great. You're not there yet. Drop the I am. Now I want you to do wealthy. Go ahead. Try it. Wealthy. Wealthy. Some of you feel the difference? Do that. Wealthy. 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 Ad nauseum. Wealthy, 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 wealthy. And do that before you go to sleep. And do it when you wake up. I promise you things will change. You'll get more wealthy, and then you can start going, I am wealthy. Oh, I am wealthy. And that will change it too. But if anything within you negates something, I am healthy, and you can't walk, you may negate, I don't feel so healthy. Healthy, 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 healthy. Healthy, things will change. Okay.
Great. All right. So do you know you're part of our online community? Every time you watch us, you belong to CSL Dallas, and we're so happy that you're part of our community. And we love providing you this kind of spiritual message. So if you want to keep seeing this, please donate. You can donate at csldallas.org/give. Or you can text 972-954-4404. Be part of our community and sit back and enjoy the message. So I struggle with the idea of having enough if I tithe 10%. I want to, but can't quite commit. What can I do?
Yeah. Well, what I would say, a few things about that. It's a process. And you just start and do it however you want in that process, but you got to start. The problem is, unfortunately, there aren't good examples of a lot of things in this world. We here in this community do our utmost best to be a great example of what a spiritual community is and the spiritual principles that we teach, and we align with it. And that right down to the penny. The unfortunate thing is many of us come from faith traditions where we heard about this thing called tithing. And then we were either in the community or heard stories about in communities where, yes, those pastors get a lot of money or this or that and the other or whatever it is. And then it's all of a sudden, all they want is my money. You feel that energy? And it's like, no. And it just, you know who that robs? You. Unfortunately, they're just bad examples. The great news is you're in a community that this is not a bad example. We are so in congruence. We take great care in the gifts that you give us and how we use them here. Unlike any other spiritual community I've had the pleasure to be connected to. So you start where you can, but you must start. Kia Tillman is a beautiful example, and there are many like this. At some moment, foundation students or someone hearing this month or whatever, I don't know how they do it, they just do it. Wherever they are, they just say, I'm gonna tithe 10%. Now, your definition of what tithing 10% is, doesn't matter. It's gotta be your own definition. Is it gross? Is it net? Is it whatever? I think it's supposed to be a really big stretch. But when one gets there, what you're saying to the universe is, I trust, I have faith, and I am committed to this prosperous life that I'm going to lead. Because I trust it so much, I'm giving it to you where I'm spiritually fed before I think about feeding me. And what the universe says is, oh, you've got more than enough to feed you. So you start where you are. I started 25 so years ago, I did like 2%. Then I did 3%. Then I did 4%. And then I became the chair of the stewardship corps at my church. Oh boy. And I went, oh no. So I went, I'm going to do 5%. But in 4 years, I'll be at 10. I had it all planned out. I did. Had it all planned out. God, I'll get there. When I pledged 5%, it was so funny. The next year, I made half of what I anticipated.
Yeah, right? That's how that works.
Well, I don't know. But just so happened, I increased and I was at 5. But remember, it was going to take me 4 more years to get there. But I made half, but I kept that commitment. I just gave what I said I was going to give. And at the end of the year, when I looked at my taxes, I went, holy God, I'm at 10%. I said, I'm here. It's like when you get great health, don't back off that. I'm suffering from that now. But when I got there, I promised myself, I will never back off this 10. In fact, it's much more than that now. It was the best decision I ever made in my life. You'll never know if this is one of the best ways to bring prosperity in your life or not unless you test it. If it works, keep doing it. If it doesn't, don't do it. That's what we say about everything. So make a plan. There might be a different plan than you expected, but just feel and give with joy and see what happens. And all of a sudden, things start happening. You get the raises or whatever. All of a sudden, your car didn't break down, and it might have. Or all of a sudden, a friend says, well, you want to go on this vacation with me, and I'm going to pay for you. What? Things like that will start to happen. And you will see that you have so much more than you could ever hope to have. Because you're saying, I do, when you give it first. That's how the law works. It's spiritual law, it's not human law. Okay.
All right, this might be the last question. When you have limited income and want to create prosperity, how do you do this? And the question that's similar, how can I manifest more money than my paycheck?
Well, how do you manifest more money than your paycheck is to believe absolutely that it's possible, that it's yours, that, the thing that's in the spiritual economics class that I'm teaching, this is a big plug, starting Thursday night. You really want to be in that class. It's changed a lot of people's lives in this community by reading that book and taking that class. Eric Butterworth says, the most valuable thing is an idea. Everything that has ever occurred is an idea. Whoever came up with the idea of this is probably getting more than their paycheck, right? Everything is an idea. And that's the most valuable thing. It's worth millions. And so you can also start saying, I am infinite wisdom, infinite intelligence. All creative ideas are flowing through me right here and right now. Things that I've not ever thought about come to the surface, whatever. And you have an idea and you move on it. Or somebody else says, I got this great idea. And you go, that sounds like a good idea. Why don't we do this? There are people now, it's never been conceived of. Do you know they get lots of likes on a daggum YouTube video and they're making $13,000 a month? Go figure. So there are all these ideas that are here. They're already here. So know that you can go way beyond your paycheck. You are life itself, the most infinite, intelligent thing that will ever be. And yes, so know that. And as Cheryl said, the paycheck is not your source. You can have you have one source, but now you have many inlets as you can want. So just know that and believe that, and you will see things start to shift and change. Are we really done? Okay.
Why, you want to do another one? Sure, why not? Okay. So how is CSL law prosperity different from the Christian prosperity teachings, which seem like an idea of if you behave right, you will get paid right? And there is a similar question. Jesus never preached financial abundance, that money is God in action, but seek first the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God. Money and wealth was not preached in the Gospels. Likewise, Buddha, Dalai Lama, and all the great mystics never talked about or taught financial abundance. Financial abundance never talked about and taught financial abundance as part of God's plan. Money was not talked about, preached as bad or evil, but neither was it talked about as money as God in action. How do you justify that seeking financial abundance is deeply spiritual and is of God?
Oh, well, I love that. Let's just start at, you either believe this or you don't. It is the foundation of what we believe. God is all there is. God is all there is. So, if that is true, how can money be outside of God? Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within, that heaven is here on earth. He didn't ever talk about any limitations. He didn't limit anything within that. His teachings have been misconstrued, unfortunately. His teachings have been, quote, man-made afterwards, actually just by a few men. It was determined what was included in the gospel and what was not. Read the Gospel of Thomas. So it is within the universal realm of things. And so how could money be any different than air? How can money be any different than water? How can money be any different than trees? How can money be any different than people? It can't. It is a materialized expression of God. It's not outside of God. And this life on this little blue marble called planet Earth, you have to think, this is a little speck in the cosmos of life. So everything about life proves it is abundant. It's not poor. It doesn't, it's not a pauper in its life. Some people believe, I did at one time, that if I had a lot of wealth, it would change me. Because I've seen examples of people with a lot of wealth that I don't particularly care about their actions. And I had to get real that I would not change. I would just have a lot more stuff to give away, to do good with, just like I'm in service to you. It's my energy, it's my time, it's my effort. Money is the same thing. And I want these conscious people to have so much money it's just the current of life, to give that away. Why would I want you to have less love or less peace? So why would I want you to have less prosperity? It's not outside of it. It's within it. And it's an exchange in which we can do great, great good with it.
So I'm going to just tack on that a little bit. It's always so interesting. It's because when some of the people that are listed in that question and in the in ancient traditions, money wasn't a big deal. It was a barter system. So they didn't talk about money because they were bartering. And they talked about abundance and prosperity in different ways. Abraham was promised the wealth of nations. He was promised that he would have prosperity like you can't believe. It absolutely is taught in the Christian church, even if it's not specifically taught in the Gospels, although Jesus references it over and over and over again. They just had a different definition of prosperity because they didn't use money the way that we do today. We also have a love-hate relationship with money. I think, as Karen said, we are perfectly willing to have everything be spiritual. Our health, our relationships, our vocation, our work, our art, our creativity, our self-expression, our cars and homes as expressions of our life, and then there's that thing called money. And so we focus on money specifically because it doesn't lie. You either have it or you don't. You're either manifesting it or you're not. It's easy to say, oh, I'm manifesting peace, and then, have road rage that nobody sees, right? And it's easy to say, oh, I'm manifesting health, but always feel slightly under the weather. Or, do you see what I'm saying? We can fool ourselves. And one of the powerful things about money is that you can't fool yourself because you can count it, right? And it's either coming in and flowing out. You're either increasing what you're giving or you're not. There's no wiggle room when we talk about something as concrete as money, which is one of the other reasons why it scares us so much. Because there is no wiggle room. You're either tithing or you're not. You're either consistently doing the spiritual practice of giving and receiving, or you're not. And so we don't like to be hedged into a corner like that. We want to be able to say, well, and and I was following my guidance, and I was, and did it, all that good stuff. But when we talk about money and we talk about tithing, we're talking about a spiritual discipline. It is the spiritual discipline of having enough. That's what tithing is. The spiritual discipline of having enough, which is beyond believing that I have enough. It is the act of having enough. It is a declaration of the spiritual principle that God is my source. And so when we do that, right, we're really participating in our own breaking the idea that somehow money is separate, outside of the realm of this oneness that Karen was talking about. And then the other piece of this is the piece that we often have to explore, I think. When we talk about prosperity and we talk about money, we do have to recognize that money isn't going to make us happy. Writing a $10 million check to ourselves and getting $10 million is not going to make us happy. So we talk about money in the context of prosperity. For us today, one of the ways in which you evidence prosperity is you have enough money to do the things you want to do. You can pay your rent, you can buy a commercial building, you can start a business, you can start an art studio, you have money to give away to the not-for-profits that matter to you, right? And yet prosperity is so much larger than that. And so sometimes I think the equation of money and prosperity is challenging. Because as Karen herself so beautifully stated, there's actually less money flowing in from a paycheck per se, and yet she's more prosperous. We travel, we've bought a cabin in the woods, we've done all kinds of things that are pretty astonishing given the amount of money that we actually have. And so prosperity, it's an opportunity for us to look at, as we look at this thing called money. What do we want with the money? What are we trying to do with the money? Why do we think that much money is going to make us happy? What kind of a quality of experience of life are we trying to have? I love the term financial freedom. Financial freedom, I want to have the freedom to do the things that are important to me, to give to those things that are important to me, to support those things that are important to me, and to feel as though I am free to express my life. In today's world, that does in fact include money. But I don't have to necessarily pay for everything that expresses who I am. Again, as Karen said, gifts and who knows what all, how that all shows up in lots and lots of different ways. And by pressing on money itself, we get to see two things: the ways in which we have a love-hate relationship with this currency of the one, and how much we believe something outside of us is going to make us happy. And how much we are creating a mindset of prosperity, of enoughness, of freedom, of joy, of the willingness to express it and the ability to share it, right? Because there is the key. If I do not believe I have enough, I cannot share. Do you see? It is the cornerstone of knowing that I believe that I have enough of everything that I need, is because I have enough to share. I have enough to give. And so we can build that enoughness in practice. We practice it with our consistent spiritual giving. And again, as Karen said, start with where you are. The point is to start and to be committed to it. Right? So if it's 2%, it's 2% every single month without fail. And then it's 3% every single month without fail. Because that's the discipline. It's the discipline of, no, I actually believe I have enough. Okay, I'm a little scared. I believe I haven't. Okay, I'm a little worried. I believe I have enough. Do you see? That is the discipline. That's the practice. And how we begin to build a prosperous mindset. And then we start seeing, oh, wait, I do have enough. Wow, how did that work? Karen says she doesn't know how it works. Cheryl's like she has more money. She's more free. It's all smoke and mirrors. It is, right? Because money is not a thing of itself. It is the currency of life in a form that we can see. No different than this is life in a form that we can see. And the flower is life in a form that we can see, but we make money a boogeyman. And so we're making friends with it. And I know it kind of makes us a little uncomfortable, especially when we talk about it in church. And then it's like, oh, they want is my money, right? So all of these things that get worked are grist for the spiritual mill.
Yeah, so let's be clear. What we want most is for you to have so much belief and trust that you give it away first. So regardless, we want you to have the experience of how tithing will shift your life in a way that I know will blow your mind. Mm-hmm. Now, we would love it if you give it here. But what we want more than anything is for you to do it, so that you can experience how the manna falls from heaven, or, the storehouse opens up because it's already there. All of those biblical phrases are about that, so that you can experience that, so that it's no different than we want you to be in an incredibly loving relationship, right? Or whatever. We can just go down the line to be able to move about the cabin however you want. Because you know what? You could be a multi-millionaire, and if you're laying up in a hospital bed, doesn't matter how much money you have. So health and wholeness is important. So we want you to tithe for the experience of yourself. Give it wherever you want. We'd love for you to give it here. But the primary thing is we want you to do that, no different than any other spiritual law that we teach around here. Okay?
Yay.
All right. So why don't we pray on this? Mm-hmm. Yes? Andrew's going to come up. I'm not going to step on my stool either. Yes? I'm locking my scooter.
Thank you. Good.
Okay. Let's do this. The ground of all being, life itself, this one love, this one power, this one presence, it's all that it is. It's all that there ever has been, and they're all that there ever shall be. Oh my gosh. It's the Alpha and Omega. This one life, this one power, knows how to unabashedly give to itself for the sake of itself, for the experience of the grandeur and the glory as itself. It doesn't hold back. It doesn't limit itself. It unabashedly gives. And because it unabashedly gives all of life, in its various forms and all of its matter is present. From this galaxy that exists, from the trillions of stars within this galaxy that wink in and out. And now it's known that there are trillions of galaxies that have trillions of stars within its galaxies. And within this particular one, there is this beautiful, life-giving, rich place called planet Earth, where there is an abundance of the diversity and the exquisiteness of life, from the cute little ant on the Serengeti of Africa to the hummingbirds whose wings flap so fast, to the mountain peaks and the rivers, and not one identical thumbprint. Each is a masterpiece in and of itself of this one life, of this one love. I came here, it said, he said, so that I might live an abundant life. The master teacher said, I came here so that I would live an abundant life. And greater things than me ye shall do. So this is the power, this is the presence, this is the love, and it is a life of abundance. There is no question of that. And as I know that this life is a life of abundance, I know that I am that I am. For I am the individualized expression of this one showing up so that it can have a conscious experience as me. And I'm the only me that will ever be. So why would I want to limit me? And what is true of me, it is true of you. For you are that as well. And so it's by the power and the authority of the one mind, the Christ consciousness, that which is, that I speak the word right here and right now. And I claim and I declare that every single person within the sound of this voice, and anyone that has ever been or shall be connected to this beloved community of love and inclusion, known as CSLDallas, that the storehouse doors are opened up, that the floodgates are released, that any false beliefs or any idea that money or anything to do with prosperity is outside of it, it's just dropped. It is released. For it is our divine birthright. It is our divine birthright to live a full and rich, abundant life. And so I know that we each are touched with the giving and the receiving flow of life. We let loose. We do not grasp. We do not hold on. So we open up in the receivership of all of life and all that it has to offer. And we give back all of our good and all that we have to offer. And as we let loose and not hold on, life lets loose through us in all the forms and all the shapes that have to do with abundance. An abundance of love, of peace, of seeing one another, of prosperity, of financial wealth, of health, of wholeness, of creativity, of ideas. For this is our life, and I claim it as so. And so I release these words into the universal law. I need not know how, but I know this is so. I'm living proof, as many of us are, that this is who we came to be. This individualized expression of the one. It'll never come again. I'm grateful to be that now, and so it is. Thank you.